So I'm going to go over the Cosmo. This is the, let's see which Cosmo this is. This is the September 2015 Cosmo with Demi Lovato on the cover. And so I'm going to go over it. I'm going to tell you about what they're telling me as I go over it. So what they're saying is they want me to always wash my hands after every little thing. And I'm not going to, because I think that makes no sense. I think that, logically, I like to wash my hands, but I'm not going to wash my hands like a crazy person. So I always wash my hands after I go to the bathroom, before I prepare food. And, I use hydrogen peroxide to keep making sure that if there's something in the water, it's clean. I have this area of my skin that's darker because this is the hand that covers my ear. And that's why this finger is gone. So even when I try to put my hand flat, it's hard to keep it flat like that with this finger. This finger is always up a bit. So I don't know if you guys can see that. And I showed you it's always a bit like this. And it's hard for it to go down like that, whereas this goes down. So, they would have me washing my hands every 5 seconds. And one of the things that they said they were trying to create in me, and that's my point, they always admit that they were trying to create different medical problems, was that I had Asperger's, like a form of autism. I've never had autism. They said that they wanted me to have some sort of OCD. At first, they said I was neurotically washing my hands. So they wanted to, again, they're trying to create not just a physical problem, but a mental problem in me. And I said to them, that would be so strange for somebody who's 49 to suddenly develop a mental problem. And, at the same time that they're doing all of these things. So yes, stress is this is a stressful situation. But because I have proof that it's not mental, it wouldn't make sense to add a mental problem on top of it. So the point about all of this is that, they have an issue with me. And they created these symptoms to make the issue they have with me physical, which is part of my point. They turned their mental problem into a physical problem for me. And when I'm telling you folks, and you can see the proof of what they did, I'm wondering, well, at what point do they realize that their mental problem is about them? Creating a physical problem for me is about me. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. So if I touch my ears or, scratch my ears, I'm not going to keep washing my hands. I'm not going to. I'm not going to be that person. And that's my point. Like, let me see what else. If I scratch my nose, I'm not going to wash my hands. Like, I'm not going to be that person. I've worked with the public since I was maybe, they said, oh, you worked for a few weeks at McDonald's when you were 16 during the summer. Well, yeah. So then I worked with the public. Oh, I volunteered when I worked at about 14. And that was such a short amount of time, so I don't consider that. It wasn't work, it was a volunteer. And I talked about that already. So my point is, I'm not going to become that type of chronic hand washer who will wash after every little thing. And again, I'm telling these people this, but I'm telling the public this also. I've worked with the public for ages, and there was never an issue. And that's my point. Like, suddenly everything's an issue. So they wanted to, twist every story that I've ever told. Like, I'm the type of person, you probably already guessed it. I come home from work, I take my things off, and I tell my mom about my day. Ma, this is what happened. That happened. She gives me her opinion. If someone calls me, I'm like, hey, I just got home from work. Oh my God, you should have seen what happened. Blah, 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 blah. I just do that. And I'll continue to do that. And I'm hoping to change this channel into that for me also. So that when people try to twist different things that I do or say, they'll say, well, she's always been this way. Why is it now an issue? And that's the point I'm making. Something must have happened that I probably didn't even realize that caused it to be an issue. So I don't believe in keeping secrets. And when I'm doing all of this and I'm talking about it with you folks, and you can see how, like, I just talk about what's going on in my life. I talk about what's going on in my day. Some people, you know, with this thing that they created, they always want to go over it and say, well, you shouldn't have said this, you should have done that. I want this to be authentically me. I don't care if it comes off the wrong way. So, you know, this is my point. Like, I don't edit these videos. I load them as I speak them. If I say something and people have a question,